Oh, is the YouTube channel down? Cracked? Wait, it's been like 8 months since they've posted. What? Wait, what? Oh, are you kidding me? Well, that's so disappointing. ChavezzSlovakia, how you guys doing? It's your boy Chavez here, and we're gonna check out why everything you know about Vikings is a lie. It's a series I enjoy a lot. I don't really know how many people watched the last video or who watched the last video, but yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like history. I like learning new and interesting things. I think it's fun, and so we're gonna do that in betwixt all of the memes that we do. So how does that sound? So let's get into it, man. Everything you know about Vikings is a lie.
Welcome to Hilarious Helmet History, the show where today's cultural historical misconceptions are even sillier than my helmet. Culturally, Vikings are an entire culture of big hairy berserk guys with horned helmets who pillaged medieval Europe 24/7. A nation of sea barbarians, which is ridiculous. Vikings were so much more than warriors. Vikings didn't wear horned helmets.
Not horny.
And I'm air quoting like this because Vikings isn't even the term for what you think they are.
Bitch.
We'll explain. If you're most people,
Damn
you
it.
think Viking means everybody who lived around
Yes.
here in sword and sail times. Just all of them. But Viking is a job title. A Viking is a specific medieval Scandinavian person who sailed away from home to go raiding for adventure and profit. This guy is a Viking. The rest of his culture and civilization,
That's
not
bullshit.
Vikings.
They're all Vikings. I feel like we already kind of knew that just from the classes in video games. That kind of already knew that.
Calling all medieval Scandinavians Vikings is like calling all Americans Marines, or all Canadians hockey players, or all Bostonians sad guys in Oscar movies. There are centuries where there were lots of Vikings, around the 800s to the 1100s CE, give or take
Vikings
an
are the
amphibious robbery
raiders.
or two. So historians call that period the Viking Age, and historians call the Scandinavians who lived during the Viking Age Scandinavians, an actual civilization and culture that generated settlers, traders, artists, inventors, and other non-combatants. Kinda long-winded, but true. Historians would also tell you that relative to their era, medieval Scandinavians were big-time Democrats, feminists, and meat freaks. No, really, meat freaks. That's the thing. Vikings were some of the cleanest people in world history. They would have zero interest in getting all messy and then having even one person see them look gross. Archaeologists digging up Viking grave sites find that almost everybody had combs and razors and tweezers, advanced grooming tools that they kept on their person. They'd comb and fix their hairdos constantly, like a bunch of frosty Fonzies. And I will say this for the Avengers, Chris Hemsworth's blondie blondness is accurate to Viking Age people, because a lot of Norse fair-hairedness wasn't an accident or genetic. Those folks bleached their hair to preemptively kill off lice because it was too cold for medieval Norwegians to take a bath in some months.
I believe
and by
that
some months, I mean throw a dart at a calendar. Norway. Speaking of Norwegian heads, Viking horned helmets are a myth.
Bullshit!
In the 1800s,
I am mad about that one though. I don't take the helmet. It's the coolest part.
Designer Carl Emil Doppler decided horned helmets were a fun choice for Viking characters. And he made that up so successfully, he made us all wrong about Viking history. He also made us all wrong about the rest of world history, because many non-Viking cultures, from France to Persia to Japan, really did wear horned helmets in various time periods. But thanks to a few jerks in the 1800s, we put horned helmets on pop culture Vikings, from newspaper comics to the NFL to Looney Tunes. And when pop culture does manage to get Viking headgear right, like they do on History Channel's show Vikings, it still tends to screw up other stuff. Big stuff, like this.
Can't sail across an open ocean. I believe there's a way to go west.
He means sail west to the British Isles, a place the show claims Vikings didn't know how to get to. But Viking-era Scandinavians knew where England was. They ran it for 200 years. Also, they knew where pretty much everywhere was. Because as famous as Vikings are for raiding and pillaging across seas, they ought to be way more famous for trading across them.
Okay.
Scandinavians tied the European economy together, with trade ships bouncing from England to the Mediterranean to Russia to Newfoundland. And
you know,
yet,
that's one of those things that makes sense when you hear it historically, that they would have traded because they had such advanced, naval capabilities. But it doesn't strike, like there seems to be like a difference, like when you watch a show about Vikings and they're fighting and they're raiding, that they would have no kind of relationship with any of these countries, but then to hear about the history, it still makes sense to me. So I feel like contextually, they've done a pretty good job talking about their industry, talking about their culture as warriors specifically, but maybe entertainment doesn't do a very good job showing the culture of, like, you know, like their family members and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm throwing in the fact that the Norse went to Newfoundland. The list of Viking-era accomplishments is so impressive, the time they went to America is just a line item, just another thing. A thing they did before Columbus. Suck on that, Christopher. Real name Cristoforo. Better name Poopy Pants McGenocide. Think about it. Any dumb Viking.
Skitten would love that part. She hates Columbus.
Swing an axe at a peasant. But Scandinavians made a trip from Norway to present-day Turkey in wooden boats, closed international trade deals, and even carved their names into the side of the Hagia Sophia without anybody's permission. A prank so mind-boggling, it's both definitely bad and maybe hilarious.
That's good.
Either way, amazing trade network. And when Scandinavians weren't building trade networks, they were building nations. They created way more countries than they robbed. And the heroes who made that possible were Norse women. There is a Viking trope of Norse women being warriors. Shows like Vikings make a point of it. And if you look into the historical accuracy of that shield maiden thing, it could be real. Or real but rare. Or a fake thing from poetry. But here's what definitely happened a lot. Norse women being brave pioneers, crossing miles of ocean to break ground in a place like Greenland, or Iceland, or Ireland. Vikings founded multiple Irish cities, including Dublin. They ran Dublin so well it became Ireland's main city. Also, I should say that in some cases it's hard to tell whether Norse settlers came to new lands without murder. But either way, they didn't go there to rob and steal the silverware. They put down roots. Scandinavians settled all along the Dnieper River and Volga River in what they called Rus. A few generations of intermarriage and cultural exchange later, their descendants founded the country of Russia.
Wow.
Other Scandinavians conquered most of England in the 800s. Then spent a century or two fighting the locals and migrating there in huge waves. And by the year 1016, one Norse king ruled England, Denmark, Sweden, these islands up here, Norway, the North Sea, the Baltic Sea, had vassals in Wales and Scotland and lots of Ireland, had alliances with Normandy and Poland, and that's an empire, folks! You don't build that by robbing a couple villages. You build that by doing boring government stuff, printing money, collecting taxes, paving roads, and also making laws, which were often protective of women. Parts of Viking-era Scandinavia granted women control of their own finances, granted women the right to get a divorce. Iceland even had a medieval anti-rape law, which said that anyone convicted of rape was fair game to get murdered. Speaking of democracy,
that's an interesting way to do it.
In action, Iceland was run by the Althing, one of the world's earliest representative governments, which is something Viking Age Iceland came up with, because not everybody in Viking Age Iceland was busy murdering innocent foreigners. And sure, some of them were busy with that. Don't get me wrong, medieval Scandinavia was not perfect, but look at them in the context of Europe in the 800s to 1100s.
People of their time,
right? It was a Europe where feudalist social inequality crushed generations of people, where basic democratic advances like the Magna Carta were a long way off, where Christians butchered other Christians for being Christian wrong, in between rounds of Christians and Muslims butchering each other. If any turn of the millennium European cultures qualify as savage, all of them do, just like everybody. So we ought to see the Vikings as one of many medieval societies, all fumbling their way towards sucking less. Not a weirdly brutal legion of boat psychos ruining an otherwise pleasant time period. And in conclusion, if you take nothing else away from this, remember me saying the following. Let's get crazy horny. Vikings out of pop culture. That was a teleprompter hiccup. You will misunderstand that unless we do it again. Let's take it again.
Nope. He said that's a wrap.
Help.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Look, that's a good one. Okay, so he said in 1300 AD, when sagas were written, the term Viking meant something akin to pirate. In modern lingo, Viking is a synonym for Norse, meaning Scandinavian person between 790 and 1066. This is true even in Scandinavia. Any male free man, any man without male, it means any man, any free man was expected to fight. The Norse were a warrior culture first and foremost, where your honor was directly linked to your ability to defend for yourself. All those traders you read about were always heavily armored, and every man had his own spear, shield, and axe by law. Scandinavians were not Democrats nor feminists. What the fuck? The term you search for is more egalitarian than most other societies at the time. Norway was a fucking tundra. You could take a dip for there like 8 months a year. This guy is not liking this. The Norse did not call Russia Rus. The natives called the Vikings Rus. The Vikings called Russia whatever the fuck that is. I believe the primary ingredients, well, this is going on and on and on, but I think the point that the video is trying to make is, you know, the horned wearing brute that most shows kind of see Vikings as is just a sliver of society when they did a lot more than that. They're a very broad culture that gets undercut through pop culture. And so I do feel like the person feels like they are fact checking, which I understand that that is important, but I think the point the video is trying to make is that there is more of a story to be told than has been told historically. And I think people are doing a way better job in our lifetime telling an even, kilter, like more accurate version of history than any generation before us. But every generation before us was very into, you know, the mysticism and the myth and propaganda than ours is. Our generation is very tired of it. I think people got too good at it and stopped buying into it, which is what you need from a group of, you know, wealthy individuals. Because on the world scale, we're all considered wealthy because you're seeing my face. That's a pretty wealthy thing to do. Yeah, I mean, the video's for entertainment purposes, right? It's supposed to, you know, kind of tip everything on its head, try to justify the title, all that thing. So there's a lot into it. But I think the point is for people to look more into it. Bro, people are this fucking toxic fucking community, bro. I love it. I love this. Columbus was a genocidal villain, but skinhead imperialists would already be celebrated. I'm going to take a stab in the dark and assume this guy is critical of the American colonists' treatment of natives. Alright, we're going to move on. These history buffs are roasted this video. I feel like this video is just supposed to start to break down your misconception. You know, I don't think you're supposed to be looking at this as your entire facts of that time. And if you're doing that, stop it and do some more research. So, because there's a lot other ways that you can go about talking about this thing. But the video is full of generalizations. It's not, but I feel like it's for entertainment. I don't feel like it's necessarily something you should be taking facts from, because you're gonna get embarrassed the second you get into a conversation pretending like you know more than you really do. So don't ever do that.
Crocs.
And
Crocs.
and I'll see you in the next
Crocs.
one. Peace.
Crocs. 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 I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. Wearing Crocs, boy. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. Wearing Crocs, boy. My Crocs are gold. My pops is old. My Crocs got soul. My Crocs are bold. I go to church wearing Crocs. I'm always turned wearing Crocs. My Crocs are great. Your Crocs are lame. With my Crocs, I can cross a lake. Crocs, 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 Crocs.